Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's your boy Legend, and I am back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. And I know you guys are surprised, because I ain't upload this another part to this video in like a year. What if Naruto sealed himself for 7,000 years to save everyone? If you guys like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe while you at it. The like goal for this video, we gonna go for 5 likes again, since I'm just now being consistent. But without further ado, let's just get into this intro so we can start this what if.
Hate us, and we deserve it.
Azula covered her eyes as she was exposed to the evening sun. It was a sight that she never thought that she would see again. The warm air felt nice on her skin, and then she heard the voices. That's the princess! How did she get out? Her and Naruto looked in the direction of the voices to see some Water Tribe and Earth Kingdom guards. They immediately came to a stop a distance away. Not of their own free will, but because of Naruto. He was still in his 6th path sage mode, and the pressure of his power was forcing them to stop in fear. Azula, without knowing it, let Naruto position her behind him. The guards, seeing the protective stance this man took over Azula, decided it would be best to run and inform the Fire Lord. Azula, seeing how all the guards seemed to fear Naruto, clung to him. If it were her old self, she would have scoffed at the action, but this was an abused, neglected, frail, and vulnerable Azula. Naruto turned and picked up Azula's bridal style and flew away. Azula herself held herself closer to Naruto, afraid of falling from such a height. Yeah, she could do the same thing, similar to what he was doing with her firebending, although nowhere near as good as what Naruto was doing. But she hasn't bent a single ember in a long time. For all she knew, the cold environment she was in could have damaged her key points, blocking her from bending altogether. Hey, Azula, is there a place we could go where you wouldn't be recognized? Azula looked at Naruto with a puzzled look. We? Naruto nodded. Yeah, I can't exactly leave you alone because I'm basically like your shield from danger now. And I don't know the slightest thing about this place. So I'll need someone to help me get acquainted with the area. Azula looked up at him. Sorry, but I don't. I'm the daughter of the previous Fire Lord. Everyone knows my face. Naruto put a hand on his chin, thinking of a place to go. The only problem was, he was thinking of places from 7,000 years ago. Naruto then snapped a finger. How about we go to the land of wind and stay in Suna? Azula looked at him, not knowing what he was talking about. What's the land of wind and what's Suna? Naruto face faltered. For a second, he had forgot that he was 7,000 years ahead of his own timeline. Naruto now had another problem he had to deal with. He had to hide Azula's identity so the two of them could get on their feet. Naruto pulled out his wallet that he surprisingly still had, and he opened it to see all of the bills and coins inside. Honestly, ever since Pervy Sage died, he had no problem with saving money because the old perv wasn't stealing from him to go to brothels. Naruto pulled out some of the bills and showed them to Azula. Does this currency still hold up here? Azula looked at the bills and coins and went wide-eyed. This boy just showed her ancient money, and the value of the money had gone up by at least 75 times the original value. No, it doesn't hold up, but it's worth quite a lot now. To be specific, the value for that currency went up by like 75 times. So if you can find a place to trade it in, you'll get the proper currency in a lump sum. Naruto nodded and put the money back into the wallet. Nice. Hey Azula, do you know a place where I can go and trade this in? Azula shivered as she thought of the two places that she knew of. The reason she shivered is because one of the places was located in the Fire Nation, and she didn't want to go anywhere near there. Yeah, there's a place you can go near the Earth Kingdom. To be more specific, it's in the city known as Ba Sing Se. Naruto smiled as he transformed into his six-pass sage mode and flew up into the sky. He then took a truth-seeking orb and turned it into a disc and placed it near Azula's feet, telling her to step onto it. Azula looked down at the black disc before she stepped onto it. When it started to levitate up towards Naruto, she nearly lost her balance but quickly regained it. Just try and stay still. I need you to come with me because I don't know where this place is. So I need you to be my guide. The two of them then flew off together, and it created a scene over each place they flew over. Though the people didn't know who exactly it was that was flying throughout the sky. Time skip. 45 minutes later, Naruto and Azula touched down in Ba Sing Se, and Naruto immediately took off his tattered jacket and tossed it towards Azula. I don't have anything other than this, so for now just tie that around the bottom portion of your face like it's a mask to obscure some of your facial features. I'll get you a proper mask after I trade in my ancient Ryo notes. Azula looked at the tattered black and orange jacket. She wasn't sure if she really wanted to tie the thing around her face. She gave the jacket a sniff, and surprisingly, it didn't smell nearly as bad as she expected it to. It smelled more earthy than anything. Reluctantly, Azula tied the jacket around the bottom half of her face like it was a mask. When she was done, she led the way toward the place where Naruto could exchange his money. When he was done, his wallet and pockets were all full to the brim. Azula herself was looking at Naruto in utter shock. She didn't expect him to have that much money. And he had more pockets than the normal clothes in today's fashion standards, which only came with 2 pockets. But Naruto had 6 pockets that were all on his pants. And each one of those pockets was stuffed with money. He had enough to live comfortably for the next 20 years of his life. And that was if he spent all the money recklessly. Hey Azula, what kind of jobs do people usually do to earn money and make a living? I want to know what my options are for making an income. Azula was taken aback by this statement. Naruto literally did not need to work at all, yet he was still talking about getting a job. Well, I haven't really thought about work in a little over 3 years, but if I remember correctly, you could work as a guard for events, become a personal bodyguard, be a teacher in a school, become a blacksmith, become a martial arts instructor, work for a military group. There's a lot that you can do to earn money, and that's not even everything you can do that I listed. As the two of them walked towards the path to leave Ba Sing Se, Naruto thought of everything that Azula had told him. coming to the conclusion that even with him being 7,000 years in the future, the only major changes were all of the landmarks and how people now lacked chakra and possessed something else that they fought with. Other than that, everything was the same. Meanwhile, with the Avatar, Aang, was currently making his way towards the Fire Nation Palace. He was going there because he had a meeting with the Fire Lord and his friend Zuko. Upon arriving, he shook hands with Zuko before he took a seat next to him at the long table as more nobles and other people showed up to the meeting. When everyone had arrived and took their seats, Aang finally spoke. "Now that everyone has arrived, why have you called us here, Zuko?" Zuko himself clenched his fist slightly before he finally spoke. "Azula broke out of her prison not too long ago, and she's been free for a little less than 18 hours. Aang let out a sigh while Katara had a look of fear cross her face. Mai and Ty Lee had a look of shame on their faces. Toph looked annoyed, even though she was blind and a part of the new police force, and Sokka looked slightly worried. "Do we know what her motives are?" This was asked by Katara. She was worried that Azula would come after all of them as an act of revenge. However, Toph really didn't want anything to do with the woman. She was enjoying her new life. She was away from her parents. She was a cop now. She had a guy that she was fond of. Sokka was also enjoying his life with Suki. The two of them were actually thinking of starting a family. That's not all the information. I've also been informed that she was broken out of her cell by a boy. He looks to be the same age as us, and he dealt with some of the guards that were supposed to be guarding her with ease. So she's most likely not alone, traveling with the boy who freed her. Everyone at the table rose an eyebrow at this, and Aang spoke. "I wasn't aware that Azula had a man that would actually visit her." Both Zuko and Toph looked over at the Avatar and retorted at the same time. "She doesn't have anyone who visits her." Aang and everyone else in the meeting were caught off guard by the response. It didn't make sense to them, but Zuko had a slight idea of what happened. At least he think he did. The cell that Azula was being held in, there was a statue in the corner of that cell. It was a statue of a boy who was supposed to be a boy around our age. Well, the legend behind that boy, in short, is he's the one that saved the entire world from a threat that could have wiped out 100% of the human population. He used himself as a sacrifice to save the world. And from what we've learned in the schools in the Fire Nation, this all happened more than 7,000 years ago. And back then, they had different abilities. So the history books say that he petrified himself. But to me, it makes no sense. I find it hard to believe that someone has the ability to turn themselves into stone and suffer no consequences. Everyone scratched their head as they all thought back. They all remember reading something about that bit of history when they were younger. But they thought it was just a bunch of stories that people exaggerated or made up. They all knew of the legend, and they all knew that a legend always had some truth within it. But they didn't think that some statue boy came back to life. back with Naruto and Azula. The two of them were still in the Earth Kingdom. They were just no longer in Ba Sing Se. There really wasn't a safe place for either of them to go because of who Azula was. So Naruto just picked a spot that had the best weather all year round. Naruto himself wasn't really a wanted man with the law, so he could technically just leave Azula and go his own way, but him doing that wouldn't feel right. That's not something he would do. He never left someone who needed help all alone. Plus, he needed someone to show him how things worked around here in this so-called Earth Kingdom and all the other places that the two would probably end up going to. Hey Azula, quick question. How do we go about buying a house or an apartment or a place to stay? Azula looked at Naruto, a shocked expression on her face. We? What do you mean, we? I thought you planned on leaving me once you got what you wanted. Naruto blinked and just looked at Azula. He had already told her once that he wasn't going to leave her alone because he needed help to learn the everyday life here. Naruto then felt a pull on his mental as he gave into it. He opened his eyes to see the 9 sexy female Biju. Monetabi sauntered up to him as she ran one of her delicate fingers along his jawline seductively. Jeez, Naruto-kun. It's like you forgot that you possess new abilities and can perform all elemental manipulations. Why don't you just use your wood style to build your house in a secluded area? If you did that, you would only need to worry about getting the furniture to fill the house. After all, you do have Kaguya sealed in here, so use her. Naruto was then brought back to reality, and he shook his head. You know what? I have a better idea. Hey Azula, do you know of a secluded area big enough to build a house? Azula nodded and offered to lead Naruto there, and Naruto gladly accepted. However, the two of them didn't realize that they were being watched. The person who was watching them was a retired Kyoshi warrior, and she was now following the two of them to try and get more information so she could go and report it to Suki, the current leader of the Kyoshi warriors. This woman didn't like Azula because of what she did to her boyfriend. Because of her, her boyfriend was thrown into jail just because he was a Dai Li agent in Ba Sing Se, who went against her when she first invaded and conquered the city. And this woman was holding a grudge because her boyfriend died in that jail because of a disease he ended up picking up while there in that dirty pigsty. The woman glared at the two of them as they walked, but suddenly a look of fear crossed her face as a spectral image of a demonic rabbit with a Rene Sharingan in its forehead glared back at her, sending waves upon waves of killing intent at her, forcing her to her knees. Naruto then turned his head as he looked at her with a smirk before walking away with Azula. But guys, I'm going to end it off right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. Remember, the like goal for the video is 5 likes. So hit that like button if you enjoyed. But without further ado, I am out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys, stay blessed.